We're gonna go over when you should use lifting straps in the sport of weightlifting, and we're gonna start right now. So when we're looking at lifting straps, we have to understand first, what do they do? Why do people actually use lifting straps? And this simple aspect is that it makes it a lot easier to maintain a grip. So if we're doing a very, very heavy lift, let's just say a deadlift. Although I don't really recommend weightlifters doing really heavy conventional deadlifts with a rounded back, if we're doing that, we can use straps. It makes it a little bit easier to hold on. If we're doing high reps, okay, so let's say we're doing pulls or even using something like a hang. Okay, if we're doing positional work from a hang, it makes it easier to maintain that grip, especially if we're doing high repetitions. Let's say 3s, 4s, 5s. Okay, it makes it a lot easier to maintain the grip and focus on the actual pull position. Another aspect that I just mentioned is that even if we're doing something like a traditional snatch and we're doing it Korean style, where we're gonna do 3 or 4 or 5 reps really, really rapidly in a timed sequence, you will see fatigue in your grip. And so the straps will actually enhance that grip capability. So that's some of the key aspects behind what straps will do. Now, how do we use them? How do we actually put them on the bar? And this is something that's absolutely mind-blowing, that there's not a lot of content out there on how to actually use straps effectively. So when we're gonna be actually using our lifting straps, first, you're gonna go to garagestrength.com and you're gonna pick up our GS weightlifting straps, which even has an R and an L so that you can actually specify which hand you're gonna be using it for. The next step that we're gonna do now, we're gonna have the Garage Strength here on the back part of our wrist. Okay, that's gonna make it nice and comfortable. We're gonna go like this underneath the bar, okay, and then we're gonna try to roll this center R through the mid portion of the strap. And all we're going to do is continuously turn the bar and shimmy our hand forward. That's gonna make it nice and tight. Now, as we go to the other side, we will do the exact same thing. And all I'll do is wrap that underneath, go through, and I can move my fingers here to get the strap a little bit tighter. And then as I would keep turning this, okay, I'm gonna be able to get that a little bit tighter. In the sport of weightlifting, I recommend using straps with your thumb under the bar. Okay, one area that I've seen is that a lot of lifters will actually pull with their thumb over top of the bar, and then when they get back to putting their thumb under the bar with a hook grip, it feels really, really awkward. So make sure that you're using this with that thumb wrapped under the bar to get it as tight as possible. Now we're gonna go into some of the other aspects around using straps and when you should use them in training. So let's go over some of the benefits behind using straps. The first key aspect is, again, you're going to be saving your hands, you're gonna be saving that grip. Okay, you're gonna be in this position, if you're always hooking and you're doing sets of 4 or 5, your hands are gonna be destroyed, okay? Your calluses can get ripped off. It's gonna be very, very painful. So if we're doing repetitive reps that way, where we're going really quickly, it does pay off to be strapped up, okay? The other big aspect around this is that if we're doing triples, quads, sets of 5, we're gonna see an improvement in our technique because we're getting a large amount of volume done in a short period of time. So everything is gonna be positional focused. One of the big aspects and benefits behind doing sets of 4 and sets of 5 is that you get fatigued. And when you get fatigued, if you can really dial in your technique, it makes it easier to achieve those weights, to hit those weights at sets of 4, at sets of 5, by priming the technique to the best of your ability. If you have really good technique when you're fatigued, that's gonna make it easier to continuously improve. You get more mechanical tension, you get more neural pathways developed, you get stronger, you snatch more, you clean and jerk more, okay? That's another benefit of using straps. And then if we're gonna be using straps in other scenarios where we might be doing heavy pulls, like we had mentioned, we can go through those slow eccentric positions. That's gonna help benefit our overall maximal strength. And then one other big factor, when we have straps on, I do believe there's some point to the turnover position, especially in the snatch. Okay, I do believe there's a point and you have a little bit better feeling, a little bit better awareness. You have more awareness around your wrist. You have a little bit better connection to the bar. You can hold a little bit more of that upright posture without thinking about bending your arms. A lot of novice lifters, when they're doing high reps, tend to really bend their arms if they're doing high reps without straps. Okay, so that's another big area that we can start to see that lat activation. Now, let's go over when we should actually be using straps, because one of the big factors that I see that lifters suck with is that they use straps all of the time, and they'll be in training hitting massive snatch PRs at 150 kilos, let's say, and then they get out on the platform and they snatch 140 kilos. And so we're going to talk about when to actually use straps, when to take them out of your training, and then that's going to provide a basis or a lens for us to optimize our performance so that we can actually compete very well. So that first key area of when you can use straps is on rapid reps. And I want to be clear here. I very rarely will use straps or allow my athletes to use straps with cleans. Clean pulls, perfectly fine. But when we're talking about straps, almost entirely, all of this discussion is going to be based around cleans. Occasionally on hang cleans, hang power cleans, we will use straps, especially with other sports. But in the realm of weightlifting, only use straps on snatches and clean pulls. Now, rapid reps. Okay, rapid reps might be, I want you to hit a double in 10 seconds for the snatch. I want you to hit a triple in 10 to 15 seconds. I want you to hit a quad in 15 seconds. So something that we might see is someone like Jacob Horst, who snatched 145 kilos at 73 kilo body weight. He would strap up and he would hit, let's say, a triple at 130 kilos as quickly as he can. He might catch it in the hole, put it back down, catch it in the hole, put it back down, snatch it, stand it up. Okay, so in rapid sets, it's perfectly fine to use straps. And when we use rapid sets, it forces us to be that much more dialed in with our technique. They're absolutely phenomenal for improving our technique and improving our confidence. The next area to use straps, where it's perfectly fine to use straps, is going to be pauses. Now, a pause might look something like this. Let's say I get into a snatch position. Don't judge me too much. I'm not the best technician myself personally, although I can coach technique pretty well. I will do a pause, let's say, below the knee. Okay, so I'm here, pause below the knee. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, snatch. Okay, or we're gonna do a pause at liftoff, pause above the knee, snatch. If we're doing those exercises and we're holding that position, we're gonna hold that for 4, 5, 6 seconds. If we have an athlete has really weak hamstrings or really fatigued or weak lower back, we know that isometric actions really help lower back strength, so we might hold that low hang position in a pause. So pauses are a very great variation to use to improve technique and strength, and that's when it's perfectly fine to use straps. Now, I'm saying that, and our own Haley Reichert, who's one of the absolute strongest women in the entire world in the sport of weightlifting, still refuses to use straps when she's doing a pause below the knee or even a pause above the knee. She's typically just gonna be using her hook grip. So it really depends on the individual, but I do recommend typically using straps when you're gonna be doing a pause. Now, the next aspect, let's use straps, okay, lifting straps for a hang. So if I get in a position here, I wanna go through the concentric, then I'm gonna set up with an eccentric, and I might do a low hang snatch, okay? And then we'll snatch. Or I get to the top here, and I do a high hang snatch and big finish. We can use hang snatches if we have problems with specific positions. We have problems getting into the catch. We have weak points in our technique, and the eccentric portion of the hang helps us feel that technique a little bit better. Use straps to optimize your snatch technique by using those hang variations, okay? High hang, high hang, intro low hang, complex, anything that you want. Those are other great variations that you can use, and make sure that you use straps when you're achieving and executing those hang snatches. Finally, the last aspect behind using straps. You can use lifting straps when you're trying to execute a heavy pull. So let's say we're doing a snatch pull to target, a deficit pull, an RDL, a stiff-legged deadlift, anything along those lines, a chair pull. All of these exercises are movements that are gonna be very heavy. So typically we're gonna see about 90 to 130% of our best being used when we're executing a pull. Pulls will help increase our overall absolute strength. If our absolute strength is stronger, we can hold positions a little bit better. We can effectively execute our technique at higher speeds with better positions because we have that newfound strength. So use straps to execute those big, heavy pulls. Again, head over to garagestrength.com to make sure you pick up our garage strength lifting straps. We've even got the R and the L to help you put them on the right hand or the left hand. And if you need help with your overall programming, at garagestrength.com, you can pick up one of our snatch-based programs, a clean-based program, or even our squat improvement program to help you hit those monster PRs. Because remember, freaks, if you want to become a champion, you've always got to cultivate your power. Peace.